Hey everybody, Mr. Cruze here with a geometry review for you. I do apologize I'm gone for this period today, but me and the other geometry teachers are going to figure out how to help you best prepare for the I-step. So that's where we're at. I promise I'm not ditching you for anything else. But anywho, if you'll just follow along with this video and fill in the notes as you go, you're more than welcome to pause this video, rewind it, and watch it over again until you understand what we're doing. All we're going to do today is equations of lines. So, writing equations of lines. The most basic equation of a line that we can have is what's known as slope-intercept form, okay? This is probably the most common form that is used throughout algebra, geometry, and most of the mathy world. It's always in the form y equals mx plus b. You've probably seen this before, okay? Obviously, x and y are your variables. M is your slope. We've already figured out how to find slope. B, in this case, is what is known as the y-intercept, okay? Basically, it's the point at which, if you were to graph the line, it's where it would cross the y-axis, okay? So this point here would be B. That'd be the y-intercept, okay? So anyway, that's really helpful when you're graphing, because then you can just plot the point where it crosses the y-axis, and then you can use your slope to go up and over, and you've got the line. So again, that's the form that we're going to be writing most of our answers in, all right? There are a couple other forms for lines. There's something called the standard form. We don't really ever use that. The other one that's helpful is point-slope form, okay? If you have a point and you have the slope, you can use this form, and the formula is this. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. Again, this is helpful when you have a point, call it x1, y1, and when you have a slope known as m. Then you just plug it into this formula and you're good to go. I will tell you, this form is useful, but we actually have a nicer way here in our math department that we do it, which is really just a rewrite of point-slope form, and we call it slope-slope, okay? And it's probably the easiest way that we have. If you're given a slope and a point, it's the easiest way that we have to write an equation of a line back in slope-intercept form. And basically it uses proportions, because what you do is you set your slope equal to y minus over x minus. And then what you plug in here is your y-coordinate and your x-coordinate of your point. Then what you do is you have a fraction equal to a fraction, and you cross-multiply, and you solve for y. Okay, you'll see what I mean as we do this, okay? As far as your slope, if your slope is not a fraction, like let's say your slope is 2, just make that 2 over 1, set it equal to y minus over x minus, and then boom, cross multiply and solve. It makes dealing with fractions and things very easy because it's really just cross multiplying. Okay, for each of these, we're going to write our answers in slope-intercept form. I don't care what the assignment says. We're going to do all of ours in slope-intercept form. So they'll all be y equals mx plus b. They'll all be in that form. Okay? Let's try some out. Write the equation of the line described. So number 1 says a slope of 9 and a y-intercept of negative 2. So you notice they gave me the slope and they gave me the intercept. I already have everything I need. I have m and I have b. So really simple. Y equals 9x plus a negative 2, which would really just be minus 2. That's all that is. If they give you the slope and the intercept, boom, you've got it. Y equals 9x minus 2. Simple enough? Let's try number 2. A slope of 1/4 and a y-intercept of negative 1. Again, we have a slope, we have an intercept. So y equals mx plus b, so it'd be plus negative 1, which is really just minus 1. Okay. How about number 3? A slope of negative 1 and a y-intercept of 0. Again, slope and intercept. So y equals negative 1x. Really, this is plus 0, but honestly, I wouldn't expect you to write your answer like that. I would much prefer y equals negative x. That's all you really have to do. Okay. 4 is where it really starts to get interesting. A slope of 3, and the line goes through the point 2, 6. This is different. We have a slope. We no longer have the intercept, so I can't just use y equals mx plus b right off of the bat. So what we're going to do is we're going to use slope-slope, all right? Slope-slope to help us out. So the slope is 3. We're going to use 3 over 1, okay, because we want that fraction, always equals y minus over x minus. then all you have to do is plug in your x and your y point after these. So y minus whatever the y coordinate is, which is 6, and the x coordinate is 2. Okay? And then now you cross multiply. Okay? 1 times y minus 6 is just y minus 6. 3 times x minus 2, I'm going to show this step first. 3 times x minus 2. I guess I'll show the 1 and the y minus 6 as well. And then you would distribute. Okay, so y minus 6. Here this would be 3x minus 6. And the last thing you do is we want to try and get y by itself, so we're going to add 6 to both sides. And when you do, you get y equals 3x. That's it. Notice how it's in y equals mx plus b. I now know the slope is 3, and the y-intercept would be 0, because I'm not adding anything outside. What do you think of that? Slope, slope. It actually works out really well for us, okay? Especially when you have problems like this. A slope of 6 over 7, and it goes through the point 1, negative 5, okay? Again, fractions scare a lot of people, but not if you think about slope, slope. So 6 over 7 equals y minus over x minus. Y minus over x minus. My y-coordinate's negative 5. My x-coordinate's 1. Some of you are probably already saying in your head, switch, switch, Mr. Cruze, right? Minus and negative, switch, switch. And then now cross multiply. When you do, and I always write the y first just because we like y on the left. When you do, no fraction. Boy, that's weird. Distribute. 7y plus 35. Do make sure you distribute to everything. And then 6x minus 6. And now solve for y. So I'd subtract 35. So negative 6 minus a 35, right, would be what? Negative 41. Okay. And last but not least, I would divide by everything by 7. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So it ends up being y equals 6/7 x, there's our fractions, minus 41 over 7. Obviously, if a fraction can reduce, go for it. But if not, I wouldn't even bother worrying about it. Okay? Again, what's nice about slope, slope is you don't deal with the fraction until the very end. And it makes life nice for you. Number 6, the slope of 4 over 3, and it goes through the point 2, 0. So again, slope, slope, y minus over x minus. Okay? The y-coordinate in this case is 0. The x-coordinate's 2. Okay? Cross multiply. 3 times y minus 0, which really I don't care about the minus 0 part. I started to write 4, but I meant 3. And that equals 4 times x minus 2. 3 times y minus 0 is just going to be 3y. This side will be 4x minus 8. The only thing I have to do here is divide everything by 3. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So y equals 4 over 3x minus 8 over 3. And again, we deal with nice fractions at the end. 8 over 3 doesn't reduce. Okay. By the way, you'll notice the number in front of the x in each of these is the same as the slope, right? So that's a good way to check your answer, at least partially. The only thing that could be wrong is the intercept if you accidentally distributed wrong. A couple more of these. Goes through the points 4, 2, and negative 7, negative 3. Okay, so these get a little harder. They did not give you the slope this time. However, we've done this already. Can I find the slope if I'm given 2 points? You bet we can. So the slope would equal y2 minus y1, so negative 3 minus 2. If I do negative 3 minus 2 on the top, I have to do negative 7 minus 4 on the bottom. So that'll give me negative 5 over negative 11, which means my slope is 5/11ths, right? And then now we can solve slope, slope. So 5 over 11 equals y minus over x minus. Now, here's the fun part. You actually get a choice now. You have a choice in the matter. Choice is always a good thing. You get to pick which point you use. You only use one of them, okay? I would go with the point that I think would be the easiest. I see this one and I see 2 negatives. I probably won't use that one. But I promise you, if you do, and you can try it if you don't believe me, you will get the same answer, okay? I'm going to use 4, 2. So I'm going to do y minus 2 over x minus 4. And now I'm going to cross multiply. If I do, I get, let's see. I get 11y minus 22 equals 5x minus 20. I'm just saving time and going ahead and distributing. Then I get 11y. I'm going to add 22 to both sides, so I get 5x plus 2. and then I divide everything by 11, so it's 5/11 x plus 2/11. And there's my equation. It should go through both of those points. All right, number 8, same concept. We have 2 points, so we need to find the slope. So y2 minus y1, so 0 minus 1 over -6 minus 2. That'll give me -1 over -8, which is a slope of positive 1/8. Okay. So we have 1/8 equals y minus over x minus. And again, pick the easier point. I don't really mind which one you use. I'm probably going to go with -6, 0, just because it has a 0 in it. 0 is always nice. Okay. Again, you're probably thinking, switch, Mr. Cruze. Cross multiply. If you do, you get 8y equals x plus 6, which means y equals 1/8 x plus 6 over 8, which would reduce to 3/4. Again, please make sure you reduce the fractions if they can reduce. Okay? Hopefully this is going well for you. Also, one other thing that your book wants me to mention, don't forget about horizontal and vertical lines. So we have horizontal lines with a slope of 0, right? And we have vertical lines with a slope that is undefined, okay? So we need to remember that. Horizontal lines, just because they have a slope of 0, they will always be in the form y equals, technically 0x, right? They will always be in the form of y equals some number, okay? That number can be anything. It's whatever the y-intercept is. While vertical lines are always in the form x equals a number, which is not really intuitive. We usually think the y-axis is vertical and the x-axis is horizontal, but when you're writing the equations of the lines, it's actually backwards, okay? And you'll see that come up in these examples. So number 9 here goes through the points 9, 4, and 9, 2. So I'm going to find the slope real quick. So the slope is 2 minus 4 over 9 minus 9. You end up getting -2 over 0, which is, of course, undefined, right? Which means it'll be a vertical line, okay? So you can actually still use slope here. If you do -2 over 0 equals y minus over x minus, and you plug in one of these points, I don't care which one you do, cross multiply this. What happens? You end up getting 0 times that, which will just be 0, right? You'll end up getting 0 equals -2x plus 18. There's no y. So your only choice is to solve for x, okay? So I get -18 equals -2x. Divide everything by -2 and flip the equation. You end up getting x equals 9. As I said, it's a vertical line. It's undefined. It'll be x equals some number. X equals 9. Those of you observant in the audience will notice both of these points have an x-coordinate of 9, so it makes sense that the equation is x equals 9. Okay? Number 10 works out similarly. Okay? So again, we have, what, -3 minus 11 over 1 minus 1. We end up with -14 over 0. You can use -14 over 0. If you'd rather, you can use 1 over 0. Both of these come out to be undefined, okay? So it doesn't really matter. 1 over 0 is actually very simple. I could have done that in the last one as well. I'm going to use the second point this time. Anyway, if you cross multiply, same concept. You get 0 equals x minus 1, which means x equals 1. Okay, so we actually had 2 vertical lines here. It would work very similarly if you had 0 over some number as well. Okay, it would just be y equals a number at the end. All right, well, there you guys go. I hope this video has helped. Remember, the big things that we're trying to accomplish here is you're going to use y equals mx plus b, or you're going to use slope to write it in the form y equals mx plus b. All right, that's your goal for today. All right. Hopefully the sub has given you the assignment as well. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me a message on Canvas, or you can send me an email. I will try and respond as quickly as I can, all right? I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.